My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me now and we will explore these topics and so much more with fascinating guests, authors, and experts who will guide us to Destination Unlimited. Inscribed in the forecourt of the Temple of Apollo in Delphi is the ancient Greek maxim, Gnothi Seauton, or know thyself. How many of us really know ourselves? How many of us measure our happiness and the very nature of our existence by the external forces in our lives, like relationships, family, social connections, and careers? Is there a way to really know ourselves and find inner happiness, self-love, and balance? My guest this week, Agapi Stassinopoulos, says there is, and shares the path she has found in her new book, Wake Up to the Joy of You, 52 Meditations and Practices for a Calmer, Happier Life. Agapi is the best-selling author and speaker who inspires audiences around the world. In her previous book, Unbinding the Heart, A Dose of Greek Wisdom, Generosity, and Unconditional Love, she shares the wisdom for her life's adventures and experiences. Agapi was trained in London at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art and then moved on to receive her master's degree in psychology from the University of Santa Monica. Her previous books on the Greek archetypes, Gods and Goddesses in Love, and Conversations with the Goddesses were turned into PBS specials. She's currently conducting workshops for Thrive Global, a company founded by her sister, Arianna Huffington, to help change the way we work and live. She divides her time between New York and Los Angeles and was born and raised in Athens, Greece. You may find her online at wakeupthejoyofyou.com. Please join me in welcoming Agapi Stassinopoulos. Good evening, Agapi.
Good evening, Victor. What a beautiful introduction. My goodness, I had the chills.
Well, thank you so much.
You evoked the god Apollo. What can I say?
That's it, the god Apollo. He's the one who started it. Well, it's not really the god Apollo. It was the Delphic oracle who said that, right? Know thyself. Gnothi Seauton, right?
Well, Socrates said that.
Oh, Socrates said that. Okay. I guess then did Socrates get it from Delphi?
I think he got it from himself.
Okay.
He actually also said, the unexamined life is not worth living.
Absolutely. And that one I know from Socrates.
He really dived into the search and the knowing of yourself. Profound. But thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, and thrilled and wonderful to be with you and all our listeners all over the world.
Well, thank you. And it's so lovely to have you with us this evening. You know, Agapi is a dear friend of my wife, Lori Sue. And I had the pleasure of first meeting Agapi at Lori Sue's book signing in 2002. And I can say unequivocally that every time Agapi walks into the room lights up and everyone just is drawn to you, Agapi. So it's so wonderful for you to be here.
What a beautiful thing to say. Thank you so much. That's the greatest compliment.
Well, thank you. So let's share a little of your path with our listeners who are meeting you for the first time. How did you wake up to the joy of you?
It's a process. It was a process, and it was a process of really going through what I call my underworld. You know, the goddess Persephone. Are you familiar with the myth?
Absolutely.
Persephone, that she was kidnapped by Hades and went into the underworld and lived in darkness for quite a while until she was innocent and playing in the fields when Hades kidnapped her. And her mother, Demeter, just had havoc with Zeus because Zeus had in cahoots with Hades to kidnap Persephone, and finally was able to bring Hermes and bring the daughter back because she threatened that she would bring famine into the earth, because goddess Demeter was the goddess of the earth. And why I say the myth for our listeners, just to reorient ourselves, that we all go through the process of discovery by going into the underworld. And the underworld is a place of where we feel we are devoid of light. We go into sadness, to separation, a feeling of abandonment, a feeling of not belonging, a feeling of separation, and a feeling of actually not fitting in anywhere and not knowing who we are and what is our purpose in life. So that I don't really know any human being who doesn't at some point in their lives, unless they're completely living on automatic, that doesn't go through that questioning. What is it all about? And I went through that progressively in my 20s when I was in Los Angeles. From Athens, Greece, I went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. I studied acting. I was really recognized as a very talented and gifted actress. From comedy, from Shakespeare to Bernard Shaw to the Greek tragedians, I played the gamut. But what really happened is when I went to Hollywood, I didn't land the parts I wanted. The movie I went for did not work out. So I went in this soul searching, and I didn't believe at that time in God. I didn't believe in anything. And I always say, thank God believed in me because he snatched me, because the life force that is in us is always working for us to wake us up if we would just listen. And through yoga, through hours of yoga that I did, and through reading all the spiritual books from Autobiography of a Yogi to Sri Aurobindo to Krishnamurti, I was looking for something, but I didn't know what I was looking for. But I wanted myself, and I wanted to find that something more than I wanted my next breath. And the blessings is that when life doesn't give us what we think we want, the career we want, the job we want, the success we want, the man, the woman, when life we feel is working against us, is really working for us. Because when we don't get what we think we want, we are forced to go inside, and we are forced to come back to look at ourselves and to start excavating and to start really examining and saying, okay, who am I, and why does this outer thing mean so much to me that without it I cannot find my happiness? So that's what happened to me. And then in my last book, Unbinding the Heart, I wrote the life story of what happened to me from that moment on, when I woke up and I had an epiphany. I had literally a spiritual experience called Hit by the Light at 5:20 in one bright morning. The light came in my bedroom in a hotel. I had, fallen asleep. I was awakened by an inner and outer light. And I had an epiphany where I fell on my knees weeping, as if something had hit me, saying, I know I am a child of God. And it was an extraordinary moment that shaped my life. It was a blessed moment, and it was a moment that led me to the unfoldment of my spiritual path. I then went to a retreat with a teacher called Baba Muktananda, who is deceased, and Guru Mai is now the successor of Baba Muktananda. And and Baba actually said to me, you're very blessed that your soul so wanted to wake up that you woke yourself up. And he actually said to me, I'm not your teacher is waiting for you. And sure enough, through a series of synchronicities, I met my teacher, John Roger, who deceased 2 years ago in Los Angeles, at the center there called Prana. It's actually on South LA. It's a beautiful ashram. And when I met my teacher, he hugged me and he said, welcome home. And back. So I found my teacher and I found my path. But then I had many ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys of how then I found Agapi. And I must say that why I wrote Wake Up to the Joy of You is because after all the years of writing books, of disappointments, of successes and things not working out, it was just a constant evolution. I returned to a place of my heart got unbound, my heart got opened. I did a lot of inner work. I did the University of Santa Monica, Master Psychology in Santa Monica. I did insight seminars in Los Angeles. I kept going back to the well to feed myself and to nurture myself and to reconnect, to connect to the source. And it was a progression. It wasn't like one Monday morning and I said, oh my God, I feel so joyful, I feel amazing, I feel happy. It was like, yes, today I worked through this and I realized the power of authenticity, that when I was going through a hard time, I was going through a hard time.
Absolutely.
and I didn't say, oh, I'm a spiritual being, I can't go through a hard time. I am evolving, I am growing, I'm learning how to move without fear, without self-doubt, without insecurity. But the teachings of my spiritual teacher, the movement of spiritual inner awareness, are very practical. They're very grounded in everyday life. And it's what I call practical spirituality. And that's what I give in this book. And why I did 52 chapters is because I wanted to give people little bites, nuggets, of saying, okay, let's look at how do you love yourself? Let's look at how do you overcome disappointments? And let's look at how do you deal with negative people in your life? Let's look at how do you handle your emotions? Let's look at what does it mean to do nothing and to enjoy that? How do you find your creativity? How do you live in gratitude? Every single subject in this book is what I learned from myself, from my life, from my teachers, and every single chapter, Victor, has an Agapi story. It's very human. It's very real.
And we're going to delve into those stories and the wonderful sharing that you have to bring people into that sense of knowing themselves in their book, Wake Up to the Joy of You, 52 Meditations and Practices for a Calmer, Happier Life. We'll be back with Agapi Stassinopoulos after these words from the OMTimes Radio Network.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Since the day I stopped drinking, my life has gotten better and better. I can't take any credit for it. It just seems that without alcohol, I think better, I'm more careful with money, I watch what I say, I don't get into trouble like I did when I was drinking. It's scary trying to walk through life alone, and today I have that very distinct feeling that I don't ever have to be alone again. Alcoholics Anonymous. It works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
And we're back on Destination Unlimited. My guest this evening, Agapi Stassinopoulos, author of the new book, Wake Up to the Joy of You, 52 Meditations and Practices for a Calmer, Happier Life. Agapi, in the first segment, when you talked about your spiritual awakening or reawakening, and you talked about the synchronicities that happened, including meeting teachers and wonderful people on your path who helped you along the way. My personal experience has been once you reopen or open to your path, I believe we all reopen because I believe we've all been on that path before, that these synchronicities happen naturally and that people will come into our lives, information will come into our lives to help us grow on our path if we are willing and able to listen. What do you think about that?
I think you're so right on. I feel so passionate about the fact that we must inspire people to know that we're not alone. We're never alone. and we're always guided and connected. And the only way to know that is to start listening and to start paying attention. If you have a cement over your heart and your mind, you're not going to feel anything.
Yes.
But if you just begin to say and trust, and one of the main fundamental truths that my mother gave me and Arianna, my sister, was to trust in life, because I saw her in the midst of her adversities and her difficult times. She never doubted that life was for her. So that when she didn't have money, she would say, we'll find the money. We will see who can help us. When she didn't know how to get to England to the best schools for her daughters, she kept asking people. So one of the greatest shames, really, Victor, is that we have separated ourselves from each other. We have, here we are in America and in the globe. We're not in a third world country. We're not refugees from Syria. Here we are living in such abundance, and yet we live in scarcity, and we don't share our knowledge, our wisdom. We don't open it up for everyone, whether we know them, we don't know them. Life gave us life, and our only responsibility is to give back to life, and to give back to life in a most generous way is the way to start connecting to your source. So how do we listen? We listen by asking questions, like Socrates said, be a midwife, midwife yourself. You take a journal and you say, dear God. If you don't believe in God, you say, dear universe, dear someone who's breathing me, whatever it is, that higher power in me, I need help with this. Do you have a solution for me? I have a chapter in my book called There is Always a Solution. My mother used to say that. And you open up the field, and you open it up, and you say, how can I expand myself? Our own breath is inhalation and exhalation. Every second is inhalation and exhalation. That's the same thing in life. We're either contracting or expanding. And most people's habit is to live in contraction. And you go to, I'm Greek. I speak with everybody. I hug people. And sometimes, you would go up and say, how are you? And you say, well, do I know you? And I go, no, but wouldn't you like to? It's like people say to me, I don't know if I go to events on my own. I don't know anybody. And I say, well, go up to people and talk to them. Just say hi. I don't know anybody. I like to know you. You look interesting. It's like we make too many rules, and we suffocate ourselves. We shut down, and then we feel alone. And it's so beautiful when you start to watch the synchronicities and the moments, and how when you ask for help, it's always there. But it's a challenge and it's a choice to not give in to the fear.
Absolutely. I always say that life is a classroom, and if we're willing to listen and pay attention, there are so many wonderful lessons and experiences for us to have. But you talked about listening to that inner voice, to the divine, to God as we understand God on a personal level. Why are so many people afraid to listen?
Why are so many people afraid to listen to the divine?
To listen to that inner voice, to that guidance. And how is it that we can differentiate between the true loving voice of the divine and the ego in us?
Right, of course. Well, that takes practice. And I think how you listen is in a way the allowing. And sometimes when you go in, and people often say, I go to meditate and I don't hear anything, or there's no one there. And it's not that there is no one there, it's that the soul and the spirit are invisible. And you have to sort of make a lot of room. And if you go into a place, Victor, where you feel more surrendered, so that, for example, it could be by a lake, by the ocean, by a mountain, by a forest, by a garden. Nature, because nature doesn't have beliefs and judgments, because we're so filled with judgments about ourselves, unconsciously and consciously, we're always judging. We're judging ourselves, we're judging each other, we're judging our conditions, and these judgments create darkness. And the fear of not becoming something, not being someone, the fear is really about the worst thing we do as human beings, because when we start to live in fear, it's very difficult for the spirit to come in and love us. So I always say, go listen to beautiful music. I mean, how can you not feel inspired if you listen to Beethoven's Ode to Joy, for example?
Absolutely.
Listen to music that's inspiring. I mean, whether it is, Mozart or Beethoven or Bruno Mars or Elvis Presley, it doesn't matter what it is, but go back to the arts, and the artists had an opening to the spirit, to the creativity. Go to museums and start watching with a different eye. Start listening to people, what they say and what they don't say. You have to become a scientist and an artist of your own life. If you take your life for granted and you think you're just a three-dimensional being, what you see is what you get, then you're not going to get anything, because that's very little. You know, you are way more than a Victor Furman, and I'm way more than an Agapi Stassinopoulos. But what we have inside of us, you're bringing it out through your work. I'm bringing it out through my work. And the more you bring it out, the more you get to experience what's in there.
Absolutely.
But, often doubt is about one of the worst things that Shakespeare said. Our doubts become the obstacles in our lives that stop us to even attempt. You want to do something, but your doubt won't let you even attempt to do something. So this is where companionship and friendship and community comes. And this is why spiritual satsang with other spiritual beings. I'm a very big advocate of let's open up the field, support groups, conversations, dinners where people say, how are you feeling? What are you struggling with? What can I help you with? And opening up the conversation. So why I wrote the book is because I said, whatever I went through, people are going through. And now people read my book and say, oh my God, everything you said, I relate to. Of course you relate to, because we're human beings and we all go through the same things.
Your book is called Wake Up to the Joy of You. It's 52 meditations. Let's talk about meditation. When I was growing up, my generation was in the 60s and 70s, and meditation became the wherewithal. Meditation became the panacea, and so many of us found ourselves through the practice of meditation. And then it sort of tapered off in the 90s and so on. People are rediscovering meditation and mindfulness today. Why do you think that is?
I think that is, Victor, because there is a spiritual awakening happening on planet Earth. Big spiritual, the light is coming in stronger than ever, and that's partly why the darkness is coming, is being unearthed. The light comes in, the darkness is unearthed and evoked, and you feel it all around you. And I think people are longing more than any time to reconnect. And because also of media and the internet, and because we have such access to seeing all these teachers now and these practices, and it's everywhere. When do you see Time magazine's cover? Mindfulness, meditation, yoga. They are saturating the West, and it's because we had gone through the other extreme, where achievement and success and accomplishment was becoming the big, the big trophy. You got to be successful. You got to achieve. You got to overcome the obstacles and become somebody. And that's very, very big in the West. And in the East, I think people are more tending to the spirituality. So now there is this merging, and it is beautiful to see. But I also say to people, watch out, because people can start meditating and go to India and then come back and say, I'm a teacher now. So you have to watch who are the real teachers. because, the real teachers are the people who bring humanity and compassion.
Absolutely. What do you say to someone who says, I can't meditate? I've tried, I can't do it.
Well, I say if you can breathe, you can meditate.
Yes.
And that's as simple as that, because meditation is really following, it's a practice. It's like if you have legs, you can walk. If you can breathe, you can meditate, because meditation is really about following the breath, telling the mind, it's really about focusing the mind into the breath, and then allowing the mind to go through its disturbances and its got to do, and go beyond that, and finding the space beyond the mind that is quiet, that is presence, and that has a lot of a connection with the source. And that's what's so profound. When you start to find it, you fall in love with meditation. I mean, I have people who say, all I want to do is meditate. I mean, people who are working and everything. Don't you feel that?
Absolutely. My guest tonight, Agapi Stassinopoulos, author of the new book, Wake Up to the Joy of You, 52 Meditations and Practices for a Calmer, Happier Life. Agapi, how can our listeners find out more about you?
Okay, so they can go to my website, wakeuptothejoyofyou.com, and there they will see more of my videos, more of my blogs, more of my books. They can order from Amazon, from Barnes & Noble. They can buy the book from any bookstore. And if you go into my website, you can click and it will take you straight into Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all the wonderful online communities. And then they can also follow me in Facebook, Agapi Stassinopoulos. I post a lot about my events. I post about my inspirational quotes. I interact with the people who send me comments. And they can follow me on Instagram under Agapi Sees. I post on Instagram, and in Twitter under Agapi Says. But I'm a big, Facebook person. I post a lot, and I put a lot of quotes. And my website, of course, I post things there regularly as well.
And we'll be back with more of Agapi and Wake Up to the Joy of You after these messages on the OMTimes Radio Network.
You're listening to OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hello, I'm John Lithgow. Manatees are unique, among the most amazing animals on Earth, but they're endangered. We pose the greatest threat to their survival. Many manatees are killed or injured by boats or other recreational activities. I'm a writer of children's books, including one about manatees, and I believe education is the key. You can be part of the solution. Please contact Save the Manatee Club right now. Call 1-800-432-JOIN. Thank you.
And we're back on Destination Unlimited. My guest this evening, Agapi Stassinopoulos, author of the book, Wake Up to the Joy of You, 52 Meditations and Practices for a Calmer, Happier Life. Agapi, in the second segment, you had mentioned that a lot of people come up to you after they read the book and say, hey, this is exactly about me. And you had mentioned that so many of us share so many of these issues in our lives. You know, I can identify in my personal path work and growth with so many of those concepts that you bring to fore. For example, the people fixer. Early on in my life, I was wired to believe that healing and fixing others was the only way that I personally could be loved. Why do so many of us get stuck in this belief, and what can we do to turn it around?
Well, a lot of us are very empathetic people, like I'm sure you are and I am, and we look at people's pain or suffering or difficulties, and we just want to take it away. I mean, that's all there is to it. I want to take it away, I want to fix it, and we take it on. And it's a great awareness and a great spiritual growth when you realize that people have to go through those experiences to mature and to come more into their own oneness with their own spirit and their own divinity and their own, their own soul and their own heart. And that we cannot take it away from them. We can comfort them, we can love them, we can shine the light. And it's you got to take yourself by the bootstraps and say, it's not your job to fix people, save them, and make them feel better. You can counsel them, you can love them, but it's not your job to fix them. Another is your job to fix yourself. That's a big one too.
Absolutely.
Leave yourself alone. So it's just, you got to watch it. You got to really train yourself.
Absolutely. Now, you have a full chapter on overcoming your childhood. Please share with our listeners a little about this really important goal.
Well, the overcoming your childhood is really because I think so many people say, well, but this, happened in my childhood, and, my father left my mother. My mother, died of cancer, or my parents separated, or it's like endless things that we all go through. Or you might have a very good childhood, but there's always something there that didn't quite go the way you wanted it to. And I have this great quote from a friend of mine who said, it's not your responsibility of what happened to you in your childhood, but it's your responsibility to heal it as an adult.
Absolutely.
And I think it's like we can't carry the past of our childhood into our future, because then we never find a sense of growing up and maturing.
And what practices do you offer readers in your book about that?
I have guided meditations. I have action steps. I have journal writing. I have free-form writing. I have, finding obviously a good course about healing, finding whether it is a coach or a therapist. I mean, I think therapy can prolong things sometimes. So sometimes there's some amazing courses. I found that the Insight seminars that I take in Los Angeles were amazing, to really go into a place of where you can heal it, you can cry it, and you can bring the loving and the spirit and move away forward. So once you decide that you want to work on something, then, as you beautifully said, the teachers will find you, the solutions will find you, the people will find you, and always share and say, I'm working on this. I like to find somebody who can help me. Do you have any ideas? And you'll be amazed at the resource out there.
And how important is forgiveness, both of the perceived hurter and for yourself, in overcoming your childhood?
Oh my God, forgiveness is amazing. Forgiveness, I don't know what I would do without forgiveness, Key. Forgiveness of self, forgiveness of life, forgiveness of others. I think, Victor, the judgments that we place against ourselves and against what happened to us or what someone did or didn't do, and then we blame ourselves that there is something wrong with me because this happened or this didn't happen, or I'm not good enough. And it's like, I have this chapter, which I know you love. It's called Enough of Not Feeling Enough. Enough of feeling there's something wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with us. We are in process of discovery and evolution and becoming a self-realized person. It's a lifetime, a long life process.
One of my longest time lessons was learning to use the N-word. And the N-word I'm talking about is no. Why is it so hard for so many people to say no?
Because we want to be liked. We're people pleaser. We want to be liked. We want to be loved. And I always say no is a complete sentence. No. And
I love that. I love that. Thank you. No is a complete sentence.
You don't have to know because. Can you help me with this? No. Can you do this for me? No. Can you come over here? No. That's it. It's wonderful.
And it's no without an explanation or an excuse or an apology. It's just plain old no.
No, we don't have to justify how we feel.
Absolutely. I had a dear friend many, many years ago who once said to me, you have to ask for what you want in this world. Why is it equally hard for so many to ask for what they want?
Well, I have this chapter in the book called Four Magic Words. Can you help me? Right? You remember
Absolutely.
that? Chapter 38 in the book, Four Magic Words. Can you help me? I think what it is that we don't like to ask for help because we show weakness and vulnerability, and I think we like to feel we are self-reliant, and that I can do it. I can do it on my own. We're much more eager to give help sometimes than to ask for help. It's pride. It's fear of being rejected. I feel that if I say to you, can you help me, Victor, with this? I need help with, getting to know someone. I need or a job or a contact or getting my book out there or finding a new home or moving to a new city, having more friends. I need, and we feel vulnerable. We feel that people are not going to want us or like us or respect us. Don't you think that's true?
Absolutely. And you know what I've found in my life and in the lives of those that I've been blessed to meet is that using that expression, can you help me, or saying, please help me, is the beginning of all healing. All healing starts with those simple words.
Yes. And I know, I too, I'm also myself practicing that, because also when you're out there teaching and helping other people, then people start to look at you, oh, you have it all together. You can have it all together and still ask for help.
Absolutely. We're not perfect in this world as much as we'd like to be.
Yes, we're perfectly imperfect.
Absolutely. You have a theme running through this wonderful book called Make Your Ego Your Ally. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I love that whole concept. The ego in the spiritual world gets a bad rap. I got to let go of my ego, or ego is a bad thing. Ego is a very good thing. Ego is a presence. It's the thing that gets you up in the morning to get going, to want to have more in your life, to do good, to achieve things. Ego is fantastic. It's when your ego starts to run the show and says, I want more of that, I want more of that, I want to be the best, I am the best, and then you are not allowing other people to really cooperate with you, for you to cooperate with people and to do the teamwork. And you see that in companies and in different communities when you have teams and the person, you say, my God, his ego won't let anything come in. He won't listen. And you see other people who have presence and leadership, but they have managed that their ego works for them. You have to have a big ego. You have to have an ego to get anything done in the world. You can't feel, if you don't feel good enough about yourself, that means your ego is collapsed. So I talk about in the subject about the boosting your ego to get things done, but also managing your ego so that it doesn't run the show. Like you walk in for an interview and you say, I'm the best. I'm just the best. And it's like you're so full of your ego that people really, you're blinding people with your ego. And also sometimes I call the spiritual ego. I'm more spiritual than you. I'm more evolved than you. I do 4 hours of yoga a day and I meditate 2 hours. Well, I'm much better than you who haven't meditated a lot. That's the ego speaking.
And how do we balance that ego with compassion?
You smack the heck out of it. You say, shut up. You can really let your ego have it, and you say, I'm in charge. And what that means is my spirit, my mighty spirit is in charge. And you work with me to get things going, but you're not running the show.
Absolutely. My guest, Agapi Stassinopoulos, author of the new book, Wake Up to the Joy of You. 52 meditations and practices for a calmer, happier life, and God knows we each can use that in this world today. And we'll be back with more of Agapi on Destination Unlimited after these messages from the OMTimes radio network.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, Intuitive Life Coach and Energy Healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I was sensitive to lights and sounds, so I built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. Sometimes I do the same things over and over, until one day I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to, are you? Kids, work, listening to the radio. You're busy. Which is great, because busy people can't get prediabetes. Oh my, I read that wrong. They can. Should have worn my glasses. So visit doihaveprediabetes.org and take a short test, because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
And we're back on Destination Unlimited. My guest this evening, Agapi Stassinopoulos, author of the new book, Wake Up to the Joy of You, 52 Meditations and Practices for a Calmer, Happier Life. Agapi, in the nature of living in this world, we may face disappointment or feel let down by those we love or care about. You speak about having grace in disappointment in your book. Please tell us more about that.
Well, I faced a couple of disappointments with projects that I put a lot of energy in, relationships that didn't work out. And what makes it hard is, again, Victor, the judgment. So that when the project, let's say you are dedicated in a movie project that I worked and brought elements and money and everything, and suddenly, 3 or 4 years later, it hadn't worked. I started to feel like I was a failure, I started to feel like life wasn't for me. And what was extraordinary was that when I got distance from it and I realized that, okay, the project didn't work out, but I got my resilient spirit. I got my strength. I got my ability to put myself out there. And I gained awareness of myself. I realized that the project was a pathway to myself, So it's very satisfying when you realize that it's not the outcome. It's the cliche. It's really the journey that gets you to you. And the grace comes in when you gain awareness that it's not the thing you're after, it's more the experience that you're after. And the experience of yourself and your spirit and your absolute resilience. And how I have a quote in the book says, I learned that love survives. No matter what we go through, love survives. That's priceless.
Absolutely.
That's the grace.
Absolutely. This month being the month of St. Valentine's Day, and a lot of people are in relationships and are very happy, and there are some people who are seeking relationships. What advice do you give to folks who are seeking a partner, seeking a relationship?
I say, let the love find you by becoming a lover of life daily. So if you're coming from a place, I don't have someone to love me, hug me, love me, adore me, share my life with, therefore I have to find that person to bring worthiness to myself, that's the wrong approach. But if you say, I am completing and loving myself, and I am rejoicing in who I am, and I do good things for myself, and I do good things with people I love, I find people I love, and I'm open, my heart is open to have a partner in my life, to have the perfect match for me, and you come from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, that if it's yours to be, it will be. And there's a great affirmation by a Sufi master that says, my heart is at peace, knowing that is mine will never miss me. And that misses me was never meant for me.
Absolutely.
And that's what I say to those people who feel they lack something if they don't have a relationship.
Absolutely. Do you have a little meditation for that? Perhaps one of the 52 meditations you can share with our listeners this evening?
Yes, I'm going to just do a little bit of meditation. Let's say, let me just find the meditation about letting love in. Find a comfortable position and very gently uncross your hands and uncross your legs. Start to attune yourself to the power of your breath. Inhaling slowly your back, your head, and your whole body with oxygen. Exhale slowly with an exhalation that releases all the tensions, all the worries, all the preoccupations, and for this moment just allow yourself to come present in your heart. You can take your right hand and place it in your heart, and your left hand and place it in your belly. Connecting your emotional and heart centers, filling yourself with the light that surrounds you, protects you, and connects you to the higher source of who you are. Soften your heart, relax your mind and your body. And as you breathe in, this time bring in your consciousness the awareness of love. Whatever love is for you, whether you've experienced it recently, a long time ago, or anything that evokes love for you, it doesn't matter. Bring up what love is in you right now, whatever the love feels like to you, kind, patient, caring, tender, joyful, filling yourself with the feeling and see yourself softening inside. Smile. A faint, beautiful inner and outer smile. And tell yourself with an exhalation, oh, I am letting love in. I am letting love in. I am letting love in. I am safe to let love in. As you open your heart, imagine that there is a wave of love, a wave of kindness. No resistance, no fear, but a sense of absolute total safety and protection. Allow the people in your life to love you the way they love you, and take in their love and caring, taking the love you've experienced, even if you were not the beneficiary of that love, but the observer of love. Let that love in. Let it in from things you have read that have moved you, from movies you have seen, from poems you have read, from people in the street, from wherever you have glimpsed love. Let that love in. And keep lifting any veils that separate you and restrict you from letting love in. Let that love seep into your belly, where you might have feelings of unworthiness, of abandonment, of loneliness. Let that love come in and sip and take those feelings and transform them into quietness, into trust, into calm, into peace, into surrender. Relax your heart. Allow yourself to be immersed in that presence of love. Stay there for a few moments, quiet, still, present, and full. Whenever you need, just know that you can evoke and claim this love, that it's always welcoming unconditionally to you to partake of it. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, you can gently open your eyes and start to see yourself with new eyes of love. Inside yourself, this love is awakened, and it starts to perceive everything around you that happens. Everyone you see them with the eyes of love. It's a choice you decide to make, to turn your eyes inward into the love that is present all the time. Evoke it, claim it, own it, and fill yourself with it every day and every moment you choose. Love is waiting for you.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with our listeners. And that's one of 52 amazing meditations in Agapi's book, Wake Up to the Joy of You. You know, Agapi, in your book, you speak a lot about gratitude. How is that an element for a happier life?
The gratitude. Gratitude is something that we should live in 24/7. You know, our own breath, being a breath. You just have to see what people go through when they cannot breathe, you know, and it's so suffocating. Just to live in gratitude that you're breathing. And I think gratitude transforms everything, transforms your thoughts, transforms your emotions when they're in turmoil, transform everything. So to live in gratitude is really the only way to live. I mean, the only way. We take so many things for granted, Victor. I mean, I say, be grateful that you can turn on the faucet and there's water. Grateful that you walk on the ground and the ground is safe. Be grateful that your cell phone is working. Be grateful that you have hair. Be grateful that I have a chapter in the book about gratitude, reverence, and oh my God. And I write this experience, we don't have a lot of time to say, about how I was moved into learning about gratitude, how when you are in gratitude, you walk around saying thank you to life, thank you for the air, Thank you for the people I see. Thank you for my eyes that see. Thank you for, the curtains I see in front of me. Thank you for the subway. Thank you for the cars. Thank you for the freeways. Thank you for the oranges I'm eating. Thank you for water. Thank you for food. Thank you for restaurants. Thank you for movies. Thank you for so many things. Thank you for having eyes and nose and ears and going into this place of knowing that your own body needs to be thanked, because there are said 37.2 trillion cells in our bodies, and they're making life for us. And we never thank them. We keep worrying that we're not enough.
And we are thankful and grateful that Agapi Stassinopoulos joined us tonight to share her wisdom. Agapi, please tell our listeners one more time where they can find out more about your work and your book.
Yes, we're going to Wake Up to the Joy of You, my website, and then you can order the book from all the main online stores, Amazon and Barnes & Noble, or your local bookstore. You can find me in Facebook, Agapi Stassinopoulos. You can find me in Instagram, Agapi Seas, and follow me, and you'll see how I post. And I have all sorts of keys and tools of how to bring greater joy into your life daily. Remember your joy triggers. And if you get this book, you can get it as an audio at Amazon or iTunes or Audible. You can keep it by your bedside and open it in any chapter you want and be inspired and come closer to knowing yourself and knowing that you are perfect just the way you are.
And thank you for sharing your wisdom with us tonight, Agapi Stassinopoulos. Thank you for joining us tonight on Destination Unlimited. I'm Victor the Voice Furman. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Good night.